This is A Better Way Financial, the podcast with financial advisors and father-son team Frank and Frankie Guida.
And I'm Heather Branch here with Frankie Guida. Frank is off this week, and we are working to help you get some answers, some information about better preparing for your financial future. ABetterWayFinancial.com is where you can begin your own conversation with the entire team at A Better Way Financial. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there or, again, visit us anytime at ABetterWayFinancial.com. And this first question, Frankie, that I wanted to talk to you about today is so relevant because of how A Better Way Financial is a family-owned business. You and your dad work together, and you are working to take over the business from your dad eventually. It's interesting that many boomers are in this same situation, and they're not really sure how to be handling things. First of all, estimated that almost 11,000 baby boomers are retiring and leaving the workforce right now every single day.
That's so many people, 11,000 people every day.
Think about all the people that you're working with, though, every single day in your office. Like, you're seeing it. You're witnessing it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not only impacting the economy, but also the future of many small businesses, because boomers who own them are struggling to decide what to do with their companies. The situation is that their kids may not have any interest in taking over the family business and running them and thinking about the people that you work with. What advice do you give in these kinds of situations, especially if proceeds from the business's sales are critical to the owner's retirement? That money is their retirement plan.
Yeah, and right now there's an unprecedented amount of people who are retiring every day, like you're saying. Mm-hmm. And companies are going to have to figure out, how am I going to replace these people? These people had 20, 30, 40 years of experience, and the new folks who are coming in, maybe only have a year or 5 years or 10 years of experience. So it's going to be a challenge. I think on the customer service side of things, it's a lot different. I think we've seen that. It's gone to call centers and things like that. Right. And it's just been a totally different environment, for these companies that are having to deal with, their experienced people leaving.
Yeah.
And, it could seriously affect the growth of the company, the growth of the companies, the growth of the economy itself. And, it's going to be a challenging time for the next generation to pick up what the boomers have done during their work years. And especially for those boomer business owners, who are trying to figure out, how do I sell my business, which is, I didn't get to save as much into my 401k because I was reinvesting into my business.
Right.
I was, if you're in that situation, you're saving that money into the business. So that's your most valuable asset.
That's a good point.
That and your home are like your two most valuable assets.
And I didn't think about the idea it's not liquid because it gets put back into the business.
Yeah, so it's not like you could just say, all right, well, I'm going to retire and the business is going to start paying me out a pension like income. That's not how it's going to work.
That's interesting. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, so you have to really think about, how am I going to sell this business in a way that's most effective? A lot of them are looking, how do I get the most bang for my buck?
Yeah.
I've worked so hard 30, 40 years into this business, 20 years into this business. How do I make it so that it's able to pay for my retirement? And a lot of times people have family members in the business, and a lot of times they don't. And it can be challenging if they do have family members or if they don't have family members in the business. Because if you have family members in the business, do they really want to absorb that business? Do they want to buy that business from you?
Right.
Because with running a business, as if you're that business owner out there,
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's not just a 9 to 5. You're there, you're working nights, weekends, days, making sure that everything's going smoothly. Everything's running the way that it needs to.
Yep.
So this can definitely be a challenge if your son or daughter doesn't want to give up that part of their life. They want that time freedom.
Right.
Right. So it's, it's something that I could definitely see as a challenge when selling the business. It's also trying to get the best price for the business. Usually if you're selling to somebody who's your child, maybe they're in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, they don't quite have the wealth that they can just buy you out.
Right.
If your business is worth $1 million, $2 million, they don't have that lying around. So another issue with selling a business is that usually an owner's cost basis is really low. The amount that they bought the business for, because you didn't really buy it, usually you started it on your own.
Yep.
The money that you put into it is usually a much lower number than what you're going to sell it for.
Okay.
So let's say you put in, a couple $100,000 and now your business is worth $2 million. Well, now that's $1.8 million of capital gains that if you just sell your business, you have to pay the tax on that $1.8 million.
Okay.
And at 20%, I mean, that's a lot of money that you have to pay in taxes. So that's something that you really want to plan for. How do I minimize my taxes with the sale of the business, you know, and in this situation, there's something called a deferred sales trust, which what you can do is you can never have to pay taxes on the proceed of the sale if you never use that income. Because you're not going to take out that $2 million that you sell the property or sell the business with and then all of a sudden go through all of it, right? You know, it's gonna last you over the rest of your lifetime. So if you take a little bit at a time, you're paying significantly less in those capital gains taxes than you would be if you had to do it all at one time.
Okay.
You know, so these are some advanced planning strategies that we use here at A Better Way Financial to help businesses and even real estate owners. You know, if you bought a property that was $100,000 and you know, you rented it out for 30 years and now it's worth $800,000. You could sell the property in the deferred sales trust and now you don't have to pay those types of capital gains taxes all at one time. You can spread it out over time.
Okay.
So speaking of an unprecedented amount of people retiring, many of these people retiring are in the financial industry themselves. You know, and do you have an advisor out there who seems like he's going to retire soon himself or she's going to retire soon herself? You know, according to J.D. Power, the average age of a financial advisor is 56 years old. And on their site, it says 1 in 5 advisors are looking to retire in 5 or less years.
Wow.
So this is something that we see on the time horizon. What's going to happen when that person retires?
Right.
What's going to happen to you with your money, with your investments? You're going to likely be put with somebody else who you don't know, somebody who you don't really care for. And you're usually not going to get the same level of service that you had with your previous advisor.
Got it.
And how can you get ahead of this? Is you can call us. You can start to develop a relationship with me or with an advisor here at A Better Way Financial and work with somebody who's not going to be gone in 5 years. Work with somebody who's going to be there for the next 25, 35 years, you know, the rest of your retirement.
Yeah.
That's what we've established here. We have the knowledge of a multi-generational business with decades of experience. So you have the experience, but you also have, you know, someone who's able to be with you the rest of your retirement. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen to me when my advisor retires.
Got it.
Because I got a long ways to go.
Yep.
This is what we do for folks. We just met with a couple from Bath. In their situation, they were in their early to mid 60s and they were still working, but they were 2 of the 11,000 that were planning to retire very soon. They had one daughter. They saved about $1.3 million for their retirement and they needed about $70,000 of income coming in each year.
Okay.
So we helped them with their pension and Social Security decisions, making sure that they were turning those on at the right times. We showed them how to increase their average return. You know, over the past 24 years, we were able to show them how to get an extra 3% per year on average.
Nice.
And then we looked into their tax situation and we wanted to show them, hey, here is how you pay the least amount of taxes over your lifetime. And by showing them that, we were able to show them how to save nearly $700,000 in taxes.
Wow.
Over their lifetime.
Wow.
$700,000. And that is money that they're going to be able to use to do what they enjoy with it instead of having to pay that money to Uncle Sam for taxes.
Nice.
And what's more is they're transitioning that estate more and more tax-free over time. We're transitioning it so that more of the money is going into a tax-free position instead of a taxable position, which is where it came from. And because of that, when they pass away and give that money to their daughter, they're going to be able to save her an additional $587,000 in projected taxes as well.
Wow.
So saving that money in taxes, not only for them, but also for that next generation.
Got it. Yeah.
And by doing this proper planning, we were able to show them how they could live on an extra $28,000 more of income each and every year for the rest of their lives.
Wow.
You know, and now they can spend the money the way that they want to.
Yeah.
They don't have to watch every dollar. They don't have to say, we can't go out this weekend because we went out last weekend.
Who wants to budget in retirement? You spend your whole working life budgeting. I mean, we all have to be realistic and responsible, but it's nice to have that freedom. Yeah.
Absolutely. And this is what we did. We showed them, look, you're living on $70,000 right now. We can bump that up to almost $100,000, $98,000 of after-tax income.
That's huge.
Coming in each and every year.
Yep.
You know, and we said, well, here's what it looks like with your current plan. The way that it's set up, you only have a 54% chance of being able to do this.
Jeez.
That's not very strong.
No.
By doing all of the recommendations the way that we're showing you, you can actually do that 97% chance that you're able to make that work.
Yeah.
So very high probability of success, very high confidence levels that they're going to be able to live the retirement that they want, spend the money the way they want to spend it, and when they're gone, they're leaving it in the most tax efficient way that they can.
That's awesome.
So if you want to learn how you could save this type of money in taxes, how to get the income that you need throughout the rest of your retirement, where do I take that money from? How much can I take? Can I live on perhaps more income than I'm living on right now? You need to get a financial plan drawn up for you where we can show you, here's how much money you can live on for the rest of your life. Here's some strategies to be able to save money in taxes over the rest of your life. We can help you figure out these things in a plan of your own. All you have to do is go to abetterwayfinancial.com and click on the sign up now button, and we can begin to get this started for you as well.
Thanks for listening to A Better Way Financial, the podcast with Frank and Frankie Guida. To learn more, visit abetterwayfinancial.com and join the Guidas for the radio show, A Better Way Financial, Saturdays at noon and Sundays at 12:30 on News Radio 790 WAEB. By contacting us, we'll review aspects of your retirement portfolio to include suggestions about how best to utilize estate, tax, and retirement planning strategies and other financial services, or if changing management styles is appropriate for your specific needs and objectives. Exposure to ideas and financial vehicles discussed should not be considered investment advice or recommendations to buy or sell any financial vehicle. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Investments can fluctuate, and when redeemed may be worth more or less than when originally invested. A Better Way Financial is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Any client experiences discussed during this show are unique to that client, and they are not meant to imply or suggest you will experience the same results. Advisory services offered through A Better Way Financial. Insurance offered through licensed professionals at A Better Way Financial. Pennsylvania Insurance License number 301779.